Chris, and beautiful day. We just saw a picture of Uptown. What was the temperature?
Up
51?
Yeah, so right now lower 50s. We dropped down to 45, but it's about to be much cooler tonight. And admittedly, I just get done with the stream, so I'm trying to pull up the rest of our stuff. So you're going to have to stall for me as I'm bringing up our other potential, talking about that frost, y'all.
Frost is on the way. I mean, we talk about April 15th. Well, you guys talk about it. I don't garden, so. But Greg gardens, right, Carlene?
We both garden.
Nice. So
we
you have
more
your
of like
sheets?
potted plants.
Okay.
And so we had them outside. I told him to put a sheet on it. I'll be honest, I didn't open the curtains to check and see if he did it.
Okay.
I hope he did it.
Because you got out of the house very quickly?
Because I got out of the house very quickly, and I didn't check back, and I just remembered I didn't check back till right now.
Ruh-roh.
So
I'm sure.
Ruh-roh.
Well,
let's hope my cactuses are still with us.
the cactuses, I know. Nice
So it feels like cactuses could last a little bit longer now. Okay, that's what I feel.
Yeah.
That's why. So my favorite plant is. Do you know what a hosta is? You've probably seen it before. It's just a really leafy plant. So hostas can survive in pretty much anything. Now, if they're in direct sunshine too long, they can start to wilt by the end of the season. But those are the ones, if you have a black thumb,
That's
you
me.
can't. Yeah, those are the ones.
Those
yeah.
are the ones, the Hofsa. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, and I did have one, and they are nice, actually.
Okay, so did you just Google what the hostas were?
No, but,
Oh, okay.
but when you said the snake plant,
Oh, the snake plants, yeah.
I recognize the term, and I mean, it's getting better. The thumb is getting better. I'll get there by the time I need to.
It takes practice. Even the greenest thumbs can sometimes turn brown.
Yeah.
Just always remember that.
And those apps help.
They do.
What's wrong with this plant? Well, what do we need to know about later today, Chris?
Okay, well, today, cool. Temperatures in the lower 60s, but the big thing is about the frost potential tonight. And on average, it's usually April 10th that we have our last frost here in the Charlotte area. Having trouble accessing any additional graphics on weather, too, so we'll just roll with this one. We have a freeze warning, and I can actually explain a lot with this graphic as well. So the biggest question people usually ask whenever we start heading into what's called the frost freeze program for this time of year is the mountains are going to be colder than the I-40 corridor. Why aren't they under a frost or freeze warning? Do you know that's a great question, whoever just asked that? The reason why is it's all about the growing season. So on average, the mountains usually start their technical growing season around May 1st. Now, sometimes you can deem that, hey, things have already started growing earlier than they usually do, such as the Charlotte area, it's usually April 1st no matter. That's where if there's a chance for a freezing temperature or even some frost, you're going to have some sort of advisory at that point. But since it's not the technical growing season in the mountains, that's a reason why you don't see that. And also the reason why we don't have a technical frost advisory for the time being is because the winds are going to be at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, which could inhibit some of that frost. So it's not like a surefire guarantee that we're going to have frost in the Charlotte area. I think it's pretty sensitive overall, but sometimes the way frost goes, I don't know how these are advancing. Are you doing this?
I'm not doing this.
This is
Must be
crazy.
you.
Wow, this is like autumn.
He said he might hop. He said I can run back there.
Oh, wow. Oh, James.
James
I was
is the
just like,
man.
man, how is everything I'm talking about suddenly happening? But there's the April 10th. James
Thanks,
Briarden,
team.
by the way, for the hero.
Oh,
Shout out
All
to
right,
Becca. All right,
Becca.
this is awesome.
Nice.
But winds must be calm and light. But here's the growing season thing I was talking about for the map. So it's technically about April 15th, right around the I-40 corridor that we have this. But it's actually already been deemed the growing season further off towards the north. But the other graphic that Becca was just showing about the April 10th and the frost formation, this is one of the biggest misconceptions. People's like, well, it has to be freezing, right? Well, for frost to actually form, it could be 33 to 38 degrees. And the reason why is things like a windshield, metal on the car, the grass itself. Well, actually, since we measure the temperature just above the ground, it could actually be much cooler on the ground. And that's why you can actually have a frosty grass when it's still 38 degrees. That's going to be the case in scenario tonight. overnight. So even though most of our temperatures are above freezing, the only areas would be the I-40 corridor that has the freeze warning that we're close to it. You're still going to have some patchy frost. And it can just be a still wind for about a 2-hour period that is enough to cause that crystallization process. So this isn't a major deep frost. It's not also a deep freeze for many areas of safe. You couldn't wait to plant those plants, but it's still something that I would be better safe than sorry. If you have that delicate flower that you think could be in jeopardy just because of a light frost, just throw a light sheet over it, and then that's going to be a better way of dealing with this. After this, we have no other temperatures that are going to be close to this frost potential, at least for the Charlotte area. That could be different up in the mountains, but we're trending up. So this is a quick little dip, not a record-breaking temperature, just the usual we're not done with this winter, early spring-like weather yet. So just be advised, I'm here to say protect those plants, y'all.
So
Look
my
at that,
cactuses
20s.
are safe.
I think so. I'll be honest. I know nothing about cacti, except do not
safe.
grab them barehanded. That's the only thing I know.
I have metal
much
tongs.
I know.
So I have to, if I move them, I have to have big metal tongs to move around.
Wow, metal tongs even. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No,
Chris.
well, one last thing I was just saying is like Becca was showing this 34 degrees around Lenore, 35 in Morganton, 36 in Maiden. Close to the Charlotte area, I have a low about 36 degrees. And one other stat to raise your weather IQ, most commonly our low temperature, and I have to change this on the graphics, it's actually what happens not overnight, right when the sun is rising up. So that 36 in Rock Hill, that 38 degrees in Lancaster, that literally is happening right at 7 a.m. right when the sun is coming up. So it's always right, usually within the hour after the sun rises, that we hit our low temperature for the day. So oftentimes when I come to work around 2:30, it's actually warmer than those who come to work at 7.
All right.
Sorry, I have to dump one more stat.
One more.
Becca put this up. So the reason why we tell you to wait until April 15th is that 10% of all of the freezing temperatures that we've had around this time of year happen at this point. So you only have a 10% chance that it's going to freeze after April 15th, and it's all law of averages. I think the latest freeze or frost that we've ever had here in the Charlotte area was around the first week of May. So it can still happen, but it's just that, hey, it's better that after this date to avoid planting, and that's the reason why we tell you this. But if you did it and you couldn't have waited, a sheet is going to do you just fine, because frost, the way that it forms, it needs a clear sky. So oftentimes you could do an experiment here that if you park your car like half under an overhang, only half of your car will be frosted, and the other one that's under that covering, because it doesn't have the full access to the clear sky, would actually be frost free.
All right, so just
Okay.
need the awning.
Just need the awning.
You just need an awning.
Just need
Put
an
that on a
awning.
bumper sticker.
Then
You
I'll
just
get the
need an
plants.
awning.
All right, Chris Mulcahy, thank you for joining us here with our little frost warning.
And shout out to Becca for advancing those
And Becca,
graphics.
yes.
Hey, that's the weather team right there.
That is the weather team. All right, number one out here on WCNC Charlotte.